Happy Wednesday, students. Welcome to Module 3, the Rhetorical Analysis Essay. So now we're done with the kind of preliminary phases of our semester. You've done your proposal memo. You know what you're going to write about for this semester. You've pretty well defined your topic with your purpose statement, and you have found your 5 articles. Your minimum of 5 scholarly articles, and have completed an annotated bibliography of those articles. So the next module that we are beginning today is the Rhetorical Analysis Essay. This essay is worth 20% of your final grade, as you can see right here, and it is due March 26th, that's a Sunday, by the end of the day. It's a 3 to 4 page long essay, and we're writing this essay in MLA format. I have that down here. So you are required to have 2 sources for this essay. The first source is your main article. Now, this is what you are doing the rhetorical analysis of. This main article is one of the 5 articles that you chose to annotate for your research project. So you've already found 5 articles. Now you've got to go through the process of choosing one that you want to analyze rhetorically. So we're going to call this article, just for the purposes as we go along in this module, we're going to call this our main article. So I want to go over this particular page when you first click on Module 3, and let's talk about what a rhetorical analysis is, what you are looking to do and learn from this module. So if you took 111 at Coastal, you did an essay that was called a visual rhetorical analysis. This is a very similar essay, only you are using an essay, a journal article, to analyze instead of a picture. You are also, your goal is the same objective. You want to identify how the author of this particular article that you select uses rhetorical language in order to persuade the reader of something. And that's part of what you're going to be looking at. So if we look here at this module description, you're going to write a paper that analyzes how the author's writing strategies help persuade other scholars to believe their overall argument. To do this, you will analyze the author's use of rhetorical appeals, as well as the valued writing conventions within your discipline, since scholarly articles are written for other scholars in the same field of study who also value those writing conventions. All right, let me break that down. In order to be able to analyze rhetoric, persuasive language, so let's start there. Rhetoric is persuasive language. In order to be able to analyze rhetoric, you have to know who the audience is. So, way back in the very first week of this semester, you were asked to go and find your writing about guideline at App State for your profession. And I told you, I wrote back in January that you were going to, or February, early February, that you would use that later on. Here's where you're going to use that. So that particular writing about guideline is your second source. And what that writing about guideline is going to define for you is what scholars within your field of study value. That way you can make a judgment about whether the rhetoric, the rhetorical devices used in your journal article are effective or not. All right. So, skipping down to this section that I have highlighted down here, and you need to read this carefully. So in the simplest, most straightforward words, with rhetorical analysis, you're figuring out how effectively the author of an article uses rhetoric, that's pathos, ethos, and logos specifically, to convey a message. You are not critiquing the message. You aren't agreeing or disagreeing with the message. All you're doing is critiquing and analyzing how the author uses those rhetorical devices to convey the message. In other words, how to persuade. You're trying to figure out if the author effectively or not uses persuasive language to try and convince the reader, who happen to be other scholars within that field, of their thesis statement. That's what you're doing with this essay. So if you click on your assignment sheet, let me minimize that. Here's your assignment sheet. When you click on your assignment sheet, you're going to open up all the, it's got all the specifics, and I really want you to read this carefully. So you've got some of the same information that's at your Blackboard page, with the assignment overview, with definitions that you should go over to learn about these particular these terms, because you're going to use these terms in this article. You're going to talk about rhetoric. You're going to talk about ethos, logos, and pathos. It's got your objectives. If you scroll on down, the criteria for your success is outlined right here in this particular assignment sheet. So this is essentially your rubric. It's got your sources, what you need to give in your introduction, describes your thesis statement, how the paper needs to be organized. So you want to go through this assignment sheet carefully. All right, let me go through a couple of other things. So now I have sample rhetorical analysis essays from my former students. I always put a folder of samples. It's right below this main block that you're going to open up. You'll get your sample essays. I have a link to Little Seagull Handbook's MLA guidelines, because remember, we're writing this in MLA, so not APA for this one assignment. You're going to use MLA. And then we've got week 6, and my next video is going to kick off week 6. So go ahead, review your assignment sheet, really take a look at it, and then click on into video 2 so that you can begin with the work in week 6.